welcome back to another episode of Around the Lumberyard Podcast. I am Chris Mickelson, and joining me today is the general manager himself, Nate Vander Bleek. Nate, how are you?
Hey, I'm not too bad, Chris. Feeling pretty good on this Monday off day at the time of recording. Got a nice little six-pack of wins last week, so you got to be doing good on a day like this.
To say that the LumberKings are hot is probably an understatement. White hot, I believe, is the word I'd like to use.
I would say so. Most wins in the league. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to have, but you have to keep your foot on the gas here, especially moving into the latter part of the first half.
Mm-hmm. Don't stop now. That's where we're at right now. We've seen in the past few seasons how important it is to win the first half of the season. You want to be at home postseason time. It is.
Yeah, for sure. It's a big deal to lock down that home game. LumberKings have not hosted a home playoff game since 2023 against the Quincy Gems. So we would like to get that locked down, and then from a front office standpoint, it gives us a whole month to sell tickets, which we really like. But obviously you want to host those, not only because it's easier for your fans to get to, but it's also one less thing that your guys need to worry about when they get to the end of the season. They've already locked up that playoff spot. And it gives your coaching staff a lot more flexibility when it comes to how they manage the team, so everyone's ready for postseason play.
And the confidence would just be over the top. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We still have a lot more baseball to play before we get to that point. So let's just keep on rolling along. I mean, this week alone, we saw the LumberKings win 8-0 over Normal, 10-4 over Danville, 7-2 over Danville. You were there for the doubleheader in Burlington, because the 13th got postponed. Mm-hmm. How was the experience on the radio?
It was a lot of fun. It was my first time ever doing play-by-play for any sport, including baseball. So thankfully I had my friend and colleague Brad Seward sitting to my left that made that process very easy. Andrés was away from the office. He had some family things that weekend, so I stepped up and said, you know what, I don't want to leave the LumberKings faithful hanging. I know a lot of folks listen both on LumberKings.com and on WCCI, so we knew that was going to be a big series, and it's in a short season like this, even series early on can have big playoff implications, and they were huge. The LumberKings swept the doubleheader and grabbed a 3-game lead in the Northwest Division, and now with yesterday's victory over Springfield, that nice comeback victory, and Burlington falling to the Quincy Doggy Paddlers, the LumberKings now have a 4-game lead in the Northwest. So I believe, if with my math, the magic number is now down to 7. So the LumberKings could potentially clinch the playoffs this week, which is absolutely bananas this early on. But like you said, the Kings are hot, and hopefully they continue to stay that way so we can lock up a playoff spot early.
That comeback win was massive. We were talking about a pregame a little bit about how Springfield was on a bit of a losing streak, and we were on a 5-game winning streak going into the game yesterday. And it started off a little bit shaky. The Springfield bats were on fire. I mean, they just finding gaps all over the place, but we were persistent and resilient and kept going.
That's one good thing about this team, especially offensively. They're never out of it. I mean, we saw that in Illinois Valley last Sunday down in Peru. Obviously, the LumberKings lost that game in extra innings, but I want to say they were down at one point like 8-0 or 9-1 or something like that, down by 8 runs. And when you just want to just melt and just crumble to pieces, they come together and they get the situational hitting real well. And that was a huge comeback. Obviously, it would be nice to have come all the way back and won that one, but all the same, you saw it here at Nelson Corp Field yesterday, trailing by 3 late. They just kept going. Some great situational base running allowed that win to develop, and the LumberKings stay on their winning ways. Unfortunately for Springfield, that was I believe their 8th loss in a row. But Coming into that game, when we see LumberKings had won 5 in a row, Springfield had lost 7 in a row, I believe I was talking to both you, Chris, as well as our PA announcer, Brad Seward. I said, this thing has trap written all over it. Especially in this league, we can't take any game for granted, and we can't count any wins or any chickens before they're hatched. And it just goes to show you that one almost got away from us. So we have a lot to learn as an offense and as a pitching staff, but thankfully that one went our way. And I think that's a big team-building win, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And this team, as a team, I was looking up a little bit. They are first in total hits, first in RBIs, second in team batting average, second in doubles, second in extra base hits, and they're tied for first in team ERA. So it's just a total team effort.
Yeah, the bats are, everything's clicking. For the most part, the pitching is clicking as well. I knew we'd have a good offense, and I'm almost afraid to say this, but it because you don't want to jinx anything, but I've been very impressed with our pitching staff. I mean, at the start of the season, we knew the bats were going to be good. The pitching staff, it's like they'll be all right, but I mean, they've blown my expectations out of the water, and all props to them, and props to pitching coach Mike Funky and head coach Dom, but they have done a tremendous job. And one of the best things about this team has been the pitching staff. And if you want to make a deep playoff run in any league, including the Prospect League, the key is going to be the pitching staff. You saw it with Illinois Valley last year. It's just one guy after another coming out of that bullpen just comes out and just shoves, and that's going to be the key to long-term success. So if things fall where they may, we certainly hope so, but the pieces are there. It's just putting them all together.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely, and we sing his praises every week on this podcast, I feel like, but Coach Jack Dom just has this team tight together. They all have each other's back. They pick each other up every game, it seems like. I really enjoy watching this team play. This team just feels different. I don't know why. It just has that feel to it that this could be a special, fun year. Like I said, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself and get the cliche, it's a marathon, not a sprint. But this Prospect League being 60-game season, I mean, you can't call it a full marathon, maybe a half marathon?
A nice 10K, maybe.
Absolutely.
Especially when compared to the old minor league schedule. But we mentioned PA announcer Brad Seward earlier, and he had a great point of view. Brad's been with the club since 1996, so he's been with us. This is his 30th year. Or his 30th year, his 29th season. We had the COVID year in there, too. But he had a great perspective. And is it nice to win? Of course it is. But his primary goal going into every season is just have fun. And I'll tell you what, this team has been a lot of fun. And they've been winning too, and that's always a plus. That always helps. But if nothing else, it's been a lot of fun. And it's a fantastic group of ball players, and also important, it's a fantastic group of young men as well. All the players that I've talked to and had conversations with, they're great guys. They love the game. They want to be here. Every single player that is playing for the LumberKings is here because he wants to be a LumberKing. So it's always a great group to see, and a great perspective to see from our players as well.
And I get a good vantage point of seeing these guys post-game, pre-game. They're not afraid to sign autographs for the kids that are down there. When I'm out there doing Splash for Cash or the Fun Run or anything like that, those players they'll stop at the gate and they'll sign just about anything you throw in front of them, as long as it's LumberKing related, obviously.
Yeah.
But they're not afraid to stick around for a while. Sign some play catch. I've seen playing catch with the kids and.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at our meeting we had with the players and the coaching staff before the season, I said to the players, I said, I don't know what it's like at your colleges. We have guys that come from big-time D1 programs, guys who come from D2, D3, NAIA, JUCO, pretty much the whole gambit of college baseball. I said, I don't know what it's like at your school, but now that you're here in Clinton and you're a LumberKing, you are a celebrity, essentially, and not a huge celebrity, maybe a micro celebrity, for lack of a better term. But when you go out in public, people will know who you are, and it's a good adjustment, because who knows, there could be one or several of these guys that go on to minor and hopefully Major League Baseball. So for this to be one of the stops on their journey is pretty special. So it's pretty great that those guys not only get to have that exposure, but also great for the fans as well.
Yeah, I hope we give them something to remember at this ballpark. I mean, we've seen countless number. We have that big poster right by the office of players that have come from here, who have made their stop here and ultimately made it to the goal, which is get to the Major League Baseball. And that list is very long, and hopefully we can get there very quickly with some of these Prospect League players, like Max Holy, for example, we spoke with a few weeks ago.
For sure.
Not sure. I haven't kept track of, unfortunately, how he's doing down there in Fayetteville. But hopefully he's killing it down there. Shout out, Max. We love you here. We miss you here. Hope you come back someday.
Friend of the show.
Absolutely. Friend of the program, we like to say. Another thing that we can do, upcoming, we have a long homestand coming up. We got a couple games this week against Quincy. Seeing Quincy for the first time, finally.
Yeah, we'll see them a lot in the second half, especially up here at Nelson Court Field. We only see them twice here in the first half, I believe, which is... nope, just kidding. We see them 4 times. We see them twice down... 3 times at their building, 2 times at ours. So we've been saving it, and I'm interested to see what this Quincy franchise will look like. So far, their record is not doing them justice. I think they're a better club than the way they started. Kind of stumbled out of the gate, but they've put it together. They're in third place now, so they're not the bottom of the division. But yeah, so it'll be nice to see them. But like you said, Chris, when I first received our schedule for the Prospect League back in November, and then it became public, I want to say January, February, I was very excited to see this week. So we have 2 games down in Quincy, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we rattle off 8 straight games at home to end the first half. So we'll be home Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, off Monday, home Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Friday, the 27th of June, that's the end of the first half. So not only is that huge when it comes to playoff implications, but the LumberKings are in a fantastic spot. Worst case scenario, they will come back here at the start of that homestand 2 games up. So if the LumberKings drop both games in Quincy, Burlington picks up 2 wins Tuesday, Wednesday, already with a 4-game lead in the division, starting an 8-game homestand with a 2-game head start in the division going into the end of the first half. Pretty much an ideal situation if you're the LumberKings, if you're trying to clinch a playoff spot early. So, like we said, we're not counting any chickens before they're hatched, but it's hard to look at the schedule and not feel optimistic.
I'm very optimistic. I'm really excited about this 8-game homestand just because the fans have been coming out this season. We are leading the league in attendance, or second in attendance, right behind Jackson.
Jackson's also played 2 more home games than us.
That's true.
So we lead in fans per game.
Yes, we do. Yes, by a couple hundred, I believe I saw.
Nice, healthy lead. Which
is very nice. The LumberKing fans we've talked about it last time you were here. We had a conversation. Very faithful group of people, and they're always welcome back at this ballpark. We want this place as packed as we possibly can, because again, we talked about it. It gets loud here and rowdy, which we like. Really gets, because a lot of these players on opposing teams have not played in front of that many people being as loud as possible. And we really want to see it more. So please come out. We have 8 games in a row, minus the Monday, off day. Come out. We have a lot of neat promotions coming up. Nate, do you have anything any promotions in mind?
Yeah, for sure. So I don't want to get too deep into next week because we will have another episode of this podcast in the meantime. But just taking a look here. So our first game back here from Quincy is Mel Foster night. So our friends at Mel Foster have tickets there. So if you have not gotten your tickets from Mel Foster, that's a good place to get them. They're just our neighbors over there on 2nd Street. Friday the 20th against Burlington, we have DeWitt Day. Lots of DeWitt businesses participating in that promotion. The 21st of June, that's Saturday, we have the Cara Howe State Farm Kids Clinic in the AM. So if you're a young person ages 6 to 18, great chance not only to meet the players, but develop your baseball skills and get yourself to the next level. And it's just a fun day all the same. It's one of our favorite events as a staff and as a team. That it's just a universally well-liked event. And I haven't asked around, but it'd be interesting to see if some of our local players, like for example Hunter Dirksen or Noah Fine, if they found themselves at the kids clinic when they were earlier on in their playing careers. So you never know. You could come to the kids clinic and you might be a LumberKing in the future. Who's to say?
I can tell you from firsthand experience that my boys have done it and they loved it. They had a blast doing it. Again, that is on Saturday, June 21st, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you haven't got your spot yet, you can get at the door. If you get it early, it's $5 cheaper.
Yep. So early registration ends this Thursday, the 19th. But if you missed that, no worries. You can come to the door. Registration before Thursday is $25. Registration at the door is $30. And that does include lunch and also includes a ticket to that evening's game. So you get quite a bit for that little investment there. Later in the evening that night, we also have Sauk Valley Media Night. It's also Scout Night. So if you are a scout, get with your troop leader and see what you can do there to get involved. And then we finish out the first half of the homestand this week on the Sunday the 22nd against Normal. That's a 2 o'clock start. That's Jackson County Day, and it's also Princess Day. So we'll see plenty of princesses here in the ballpark this coming Sunday against the Belters.
And Elotes Day.
And Elotes Day. You betcha.
This past Sunday against Springfield. Yes, thank you. Drew a blank there. First time we weren't the Elotes, I believe, in 7 years.
Yeah, the first Elote-less Sunday in a long time. Reason being, we were observing Flag Day and had a flag giveaway courtesy of our friends at Regalia Manufacturing. So we had a little bit of an interruption in our Elote programming, but don't worry, we have another one coming up here in just 6 days from the time of recording. So you'll see the Elotes each Sunday here at Nelson Court Field. So have no fear, folks. The Elotes aren't going anywhere. We just took a little break in observance of Flag Day.
We'll be back. Everyone loves the Elotes gear.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Also coming up, you'll hear this a few times probably on this podcast moving forward, the first annual Lumber King golf outing is coming up Monday, June 14th at Valley Oaks Golf Course. You can register at lumberkings.com/golf, or you can call the Lumber Kings office at 563-242-0727. Or you can scan the QR code if you're watching this on YouTube and do it right there. Scan the little code right here underneath us. $60 a person, $204 for a team. Tee off at noon.
You much of a golfer, Chris?
I like to golf.
See, I'm not a golfer. I'm real good at putt-putt, but that's about the beginning.
I'm not a good golfer. I like to have... I usually lose about 4 balls per round of 18, so...
That's not bad.
No.
That definitely could be worse.
That could be on the low end, too.
Yeah. That's still not bad, though.
Yep,
so if you're a seasoned golfer like Chris, or you're an absolute newbie like me, not a bad day to get started. There's going to be plenty of current and former Lumber Kings, as well as coaching staff and lots of community members. And who knows, maybe we'll see Louis himself out there swinging a club. You never know.
I like it. Let's keep going with that. But anyway, moving on here, we have our reveal player of the week and pitcher of the week. Drum roll, everybody. Thank you, Nate. Player of the week, Nick Vander.
Yeah.
So he played 4 of the 6 games we had. He had a .438 batting average, 14 total bases, .875 slugging, a .500 OBP, so a OPS of 1.375. He only had 2 strikeouts in those 16 at-bats. He had a stolen base, 7 runs scored, 2 home runs, a couple walks. He was also second in RBIs for the team.
Yeah, Nick Vander, the Creighton Blue Jay, one of the newer additions to this Lumber Kings roster, went yard twice this last week. He's tied with Jalen Martinez with 2 home runs, leading this team early. Hit one over the left field fence just over by the Imon Picnic Pavilion on Thursday night against Danville, and then 2 nights later in the second half of the doubleheader in Burlington, hit another one out. He's a fantastic ball player on the offensive side of the ball, but also on the defensive side. He plays a good third base, had an inning-ending pick and nice throw over to first in Burlington as well. So one thing that I have said is we have so many good players on our team, and it's really hard to pick out a quote-unquote star player. But I would say Nick Vander is making his case here early as a person to watch moving forward.
And another good guy that we talked about earlier, not afraid to throw a ball to some of the kids or sign anything, which is you like to see it. For pitcher of the week, we're going with Brody Myers. Had 5 innings pitched, didn't allow any earned runs, only allowed 2 hits, 5 strikeouts, a batting average against of 118.
That's very low.
That'll do, as the kids say.
Yeah. Brody Myers, he's a QCA native, I believe originally from Silvis, Milan, somewhere on the Illinois side of the Quad Cities, attends Blackhawk College. Fantastic young man and a fantastic pitcher. You always love to see the JUCO guys come out and do well. So we'll have to see where the rest of his college career takes him, but here's another reason why guys play in the Prospect League. Here's a guy at a junior college looking to go on to a 4-year university, whether that be NAIA or Division 1, 2, or 3. And if I'm a college scout looking at a guy like that, there's a lot of college rosters that could use a guy like Brody Myers. So we're real glad to see him, obviously in a Lumber King uniform, but great to see him do well and succeed, and I'm sure he'll continue to do so.
I mean, you can't stress enough how important pitching is. Every college knows it. Every team and every league knows how important pitching is. I mean, the old baseball cliche is a cliche for a reason. Good pitching stops good hitting.
Absolutely. So we take a look at how this season has developed, and in terms of baseball, it's a pretty short season, but I mean, 56 or 60 games is still a pretty long season in terms of sports. I mean, you look at around a college season, and it's awfully comparable. But it's interesting to see the trends here, especially early. So LumberKings starting 3-3 that first week of the season, obviously starting the 27th of May, the day after Memorial Day. 3-3, not the worst start ever, but you definitely hope to establish yourself as one of the leaders in the division when it comes to that. Going on what I've lovingly referred to as the tailgate and tall boys road trip. So a great big long 6-game road trip, getting 4-2 on that one. That's definitely nothing to complain about. We saw losses in the first half of a doubleheader down in Springfield, and then that painful Sunday loss to Illinois Valley down in Peru. But this last week now, the LumberKings 6-0. So obviously treading the right direction. LumberKings have won 11 of their last 13 contests, which is insane. That's among the best clips in the league. I think Cape is on a pretty good winning streak right now, too.
8 in a row.
Yep. So I think they have us beat in terms of games won in a row. But when you're winning 11 of 13 straight, I don't know what else you can ask for. I mean, obviously they've exceeded my personal expectations, and in talking with I talked a little bit with acting head coach Terry McGinn this weekend, and he said this is a fun group of guys. They're never out of it, and he says that this team is really special, and fans are starting to notice it too. Not only with the wins, but I mean there's such good play on the field. Even just with the eye test, you can tell that this team in a lot of ways is head and shoulders above other teams in the same regard. So the real question is, and the real challenge is, you cannot get complacent. We have not yet locked up a playoff spot, but like we said, with a magic number of 7, there's no reason the LumberKings cannot secure a playoff spot this week. So we might come back to you on the Lumberyard podcast here next week, and we could be saying first half winner Clinton LumberKings. We could be saying that, but a lot of work is to be done. So, I mean, you look at this team, it's a very deep team. They're very good offensively, obviously. I think we said, second in the league in batting average? And also a very low team ERA, either first and second in that. But another thing that impressed me is, I haven't checked since yesterday's game, but we went into yesterday's game leading the league in fielding percentage. So we're hitting the ball well, we're pitching the ball well, we're fielding the ball well. That's 3 of the 5 tools right there. So we're either first or second in the league in 3 of the 5 tools of a ball player. So I don't really know what else we can do other than, like I said, just stay aggressive, stay hungry. There's going to be challenges. I'm not going to pretend like we're going to go undefeated the rest of the way.
We're not going to go 55-5. That's probably a little bit...
It would be great, though, wouldn't it?
Oh, God.
It would be fantastic. There's going to be challenges along the way. God forbid guys get hurt, but it is part of our game. So, but the depth is there. This is one of the deepest teams I've seen. You see that especially in the doubleheaders. We've had a few doubleheaders so far, and you get the lineup for game 1, and you say, okay, yeah, that's a pretty good group. All right, I feel pretty good about our chances. Then you get the lineup for game 2. It's a completely different starting 9, a completely different group of guys, and you say, that lineup's pretty good too. So Jack Dahm is in a pretty unique situation. He essentially has 2 teams he can put out on the field, which is fantastic for making sure you have a deep team. And like I said, God forbid someone gets injured or someone has other obligations. But lots of opportunities and lots of guys who can go out and play at a consistently high level. Sure,
yeah. Then they do all the little things well. You took the words out of my mouth for all. They take the extra base, on a single. Guy goes first to third instead of just stopping at second. He is looking to make that turn and get third base with less than 2 outs. The fielding alone, you can see just the fundamentals are right there. They just do everything so, crisply, and they move so well, infield, outfield, right behind the plate. And I can't imagine we have too many, bottom half of the league probably with, pass balls, or top half of the league, I guess it would be. I really enjoy watching it. Like I said, we had all those stats earlier, first in total hits and RBIs, second in batting average, doubles, extra base hits. So, I mean, that just stretching that single into a double it means so much to the game. Doing the small things will lead to greater success.
Well, you saw it yesterday, too. If fans were here at the ballpark watching or maybe listening on WCCI, that ninth inning hit by Bryton Clements, that was just kind of a bloop single that went into the outfield, but he came right out of the batter's box saying, I'm going for two, and kind of kept the center fielder, caught him napping a little bit, and had to stretch the single into a hustle double, and that ended up being the game-tying run. So that's the reason that he forced extras, and then Bryton thankfully went through, and I believe he got that walk-off hit too. So probably one of the main reasons that the LumberKings tied that game, and then one of the main reasons that they came back and won that game. So it's just things like that, something super simple. You see stretching a single into a double. It might not seem huge in the grand scheme of things, but that's the difference between a win and a loss right there.
Teams are going to learn that you can't be lackadaisical going to get a baseball or fielding a ball or even, throwing a ball across the infield. You can't, because this team they're moving. They're not taking a play off.
Mm-hmm. Very aggressive on the field, and hopefully it continues to stay that way, because so far that's been translating to wins.
Sounds good. Yeah, so again, we have Saturday, we have this Iowa State Farm Kids Clinic, 27th annual. We've been doing this 27 years. That is just crazy to me. June 21st, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., clinic, lunch, ticket to the game, all that included for $25, pre-registration, $30 at the door. Again, we play Burlington that night, so it could be a huge game. That could be absolutely massive, if all things go well in Quincy. And then again, we have the golf outing coming up on July 14th. $240, I believe it was.
$240 for a foursome, $60 if you're by yourself.
Yep.
If you come by yourself, no worries. We'll put you with a good group of guys, whether that be players, coaches, or other LumberKings fans as well. And kind of circling back to that kids clinic, that potentially, depending on how this week shakes out, hopefully, knock on wood, that could potentially be a clincher. Mm-hmm. And that would obviously be a huge game, because not only with where it is in the schedule, but it's against Burlington, who we're currently in a dogfight for first base. But a comfortable 4-game lead, but can never be too comfortable, for sure.
Yeah, never too comfortable there. So we really appreciate you guys listening, following. Follow us on all of our socials. You can see them all below. Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon. Watch us on YouTube. Hello, this is us. Thank you very much for listening. Nate, thanks so much for joining. It's always fun talking to you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. If you're listening or watching the podcast, I'm guessing you're going to be coming down to games anyway, but grab a few friends, grab some family. I'll tell you what, this is probably this is the thing to see in Clinton right now, and this team is, I think all of our Prospect League teams have been pretty good, but I think this team has a chance to be very, very special, so you're going to want to be here to see it firsthand.
I mean, we're not trying to blow smoke here. It's nothing. This is what we do. This team is, I said earlier, it feels special. It just feels different. So get your tickets now. Buy your single-game Lumber tickets today. Scan the QR code. Take you right to the link. Stop us and say hi. Where me and Nate's usually wandering around. I'm always wandering around. Feel free to say hi. Come join me on the field for a game, perhaps. Hop in the bubbles. Go against somebody. Smash into each other. Do what you got to do. Everyone's favorite thing to do. So watch us. Just like, comment, share this video. For Nate, our producer, Kannon, Andrés, Tejeda. I'm Chris Mickelson. Thank you for joining us in Around the Lumberyard podcast. We'll see you at the ballpark, and go LumberKings.